All right, it's Dennis Pierce, and
Don Lonham with Keller Williams Greater Seattle. Welcome back.
here we are for the final series in the countdown of all of the topics that we've identified that have been having a significant impact on the Seattle housing market.
Yeah, and so today we're going to be covering items number 10, 11, and 12 as we've identified them.
Right.
And starting on item number 10, it's going to be how aging sellers have created a major pricing barrier to entry for new and move-up home buyers.
Right. So we touched on this initially. I think this was actually one of our first topics that we started talking about. And I think it really can't be overstated how much of an impact this aging population is having on what's available in the way of inventory in this city.
And so older buyers typically, if they want to downsize or, move out of their family home, that has always been a kind of a traditional move. Move out of your family home, downsize, move into a smaller home. The problem is they don't have an empty home to move into because the market is so tight.
Right, and so what we're seeing is what I refer to as a quote constipated market. Yeah. There's so little kind of play in the market that we're just not able to move those folks who want to downsize, and of course then that means that the folks who want to upsize are also stuck. And so we've got all these components. We mentioned in the last series talking about the condo buyers, right, who they have nothing, they have no new inventory coming in because the developers haven't been able to do anything. And there's another element that we're going to touch on here briefly. We're going to actually come back to this in our final topic.
Right.
But we're going to touch back on condos and how they've had a significant impact in kind of all of the rest of the elements that we're describing.
Right, and so item number 11, how COVID has pushed the purchase of out-of-area homes for remote workers. And so we've seen how COVID has affected the impact of people who traditionally wanted to live in the city now had options. They could move further out.
Right, well, so this goes back to affordability as well, because folks who are able to work remotely, COVID pointed out to all of us, made it very clear, well, wait a minute, you don't need to stay here. There's nothing really requiring you to stay here and fight traffic.
Yeah.
You can actually head pretty much anywhere in the state as long as you're able to check in, and many employers have said, if you check in a couple of days a week, we're good with that.
Yeah, and some employers have, they're reevaluating it today, and some of those office requirements are coming back into play, but the ability to work remotely is still in play. And so you don't have to buy in Seattle, you don't have to buy in Wallingford, you can move to Duval, you can move to Carnation, you can move to Maple Valley.
Or Chelan or Wenatchee, or a lot of folks are actually getting way out of town.
Right.
And they still, they might have a 2 or 3 hour drive, but the trade-off of affordability, the ability to have drier skies, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
So people who were traditionally looking for a home in Duval now can't, they're priced out.
Right.
And so the last item we're going to talk about is how institutional buyers such as BlackRock, etc. And again, we'll put the links in down below, but how those commercial consumers have dwindled the inventory.
Right. If you're not familiar with the name BlackRock, they're actually one that came up during the big downturn, the Great Recession as it's called, back around 2007 through 11-ish was kind of the time frame. And they ended up coming in and buying up what we refer to as huge tranches or neighborhoods of properties. At the time, everything was absurdly affordable because we had a huge reversal in values. And when homes across the country are dropping 30 to 50%, all of a sudden they saw that as an opportunity to build a portfolio, which they have converted into rentals.
Right, and so short-term rentals, Verbo, Airbnb, or long-term rentals, which is this home is no longer a single-family home owned by the homeowner. It is a rental that is rented out at 1 year, 2 year, 3 year periods. And so all of that inventory has been pulled off of the market and is now owned by a portfolio manager.
Right, so they own, in many cases, thousands of homes in a state. And you add to that the local investors, so the individual folks who have decided that, well, hey, Airbnb seems like a good way for me to make some extra cash. So they're also jumping on the Airbnb VRBO bandwagon. That's additional inventory that's now no longer available for single family dwellings.
Right, and so all of that has made a pinch point, limiting the number of houses available for new consumers.
Right. So that is items number 10, 11, and 12. We're now concluded with the series. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Make sure you're checking the links down below. And again, we really appreciate you following along. Have a good one. Take care.
Have a lovely day.